Hello and welcome. Thanks for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to install motherstarter, look at the defaults and see how it works, and then look at the outputs and see whether this tool will be appropriate for you. So first things first, let's start with the installation. The best place to go for any motherstarter information is the motherstarter repository, and in here we have a link to the installation. In today's video, we're simply going to follow along with the instructions. The first thing to do is to create your own virtual environment. This particular command might be different depending on what platform you are using. There are plenty of resources on the internet in regards to creating virtual environments. Next, let's activate our virtual environment. And now let's install motherstarter. We'll come back once all the packages are installed to save us wasting time looking at an installation. Okay, the motherstarter installation is now finished, but firstly let's verify that that's the case. We can do so by typing in motherstarter version. This will display the version of motherstarter that we have installed. As you can see, this version is following calendar versioning, so it was installed on the 15th of November 2020. We can also check the pip installation if we want to as well. This will tell us a little bit more information about the home page, what is required to run this and where it's installed, etc. So now we're going to run motherstarter with the defaults. But before we do that, let's have a look at what options are available to us from the command line. So to do so, we type in motherstarter convert --help. I'm now going to expand this to full screen as we don't need the documentation anymore. So motherstarter comes with a few options. We're going to run the defaults. So the default will be setting the log level to debug. We will use a JSON file as the source type. We'll use the default source directory, the default template directory, and the default output type, which is all the file types shown here. So let's go ahead and run that. As you can see, prints out some diagnostic information to the screen. So now we're going to open the code in Visual Studio Code, as it's a little bit easier to look at the syntax of the different file types using Visual Studio Code. So as we can see here, we now have a folder called motherstarter, and we have another folder within that called outputs, and then all our different file types contained underneath those. So scrolling through, we have an outputted inventory host file for Ansible, some CSV files, group CSV file, and an inventory CSV file, outputted files to JSON format for group and inventory as well, even though we took in JSON as the source file type. Motherstarter also supports Nornir hosts and groups files. As you can see here, this looks like a normal Nornir host file. We also have groups as well. In addition to that, we have a PyATS testbed file here, and in here we have our different devices configured with a couple of defaults up the top. Finally, there's some Excel files for anyone who would need those. You might need these to pass on to other teams or to interface with other systems that aren't explicitly listed here. So what we want to do next is have a look at some of the default files that are provided within motherstarter. So in order to do that, we will have to navigate down to the motherstarter installation. Start out with the inputs folder. So in here we have 3 different file formats that are supported by motherstarter. So I'll bring up the inventory.json file on the left hand side, and what I'm going to do now is split my screen so we can look at the input file and some of the output files. So if I scroll back up here, let's just look at one example, such as the Nornir host file. And as you can see here, the first entry in the inventory.json file is reflected over on the right-hand side in the Nornir file. And depending on the type of information, it is appropriately structured into the Nornir file. Every different automation system uses slightly different file formats though, so let's have a look at a second example. So let's look at the PyATS testbed example. As you can see here, it has slightly different requirements in regards to the minimum values required to use PyATS. So at this point, you might be thinking, how does motherstarter work? Motherstarter works in two ways. Firstly, for the supported file formats such as JSON, XL, and CSV files, motherstarter uses pandas to convert those data structures into those file formats. But for the remaining file formats, motherstarter provides the outputted functionality by using Ginger 2 templates. So if we have a look at one of the example Ginger 2 templates here, it's just a dictionary and we're iterating over the dictionary and extracting values. Here's another example of the groups file, another example of the host file. You can, of course, customize these as you wish by providing your own Ginger 2 templates. The ones that have been provided here by default are just to give you an idea of what is capable and some ideas of how you can get some of your legacy data translated so that you can use it for network automation. So that concludes today's video. In today's video, we saw how to install motherstarter, how to run it using the defaults, how we can use Ginger 2 to customize our outputs for our supported network automation formats, and how the translation of the data actually occurs. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope motherstarter is of help to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks for watching.